In modern atheistic society, it is common to contrast religion and science. However, there is much evidence of how the Bible, or rather the information contained in it, formed the basis of scientific discoveries. Or new data allowed us to take a fresh look at those biblical facts that scientists had previously considered simply fiction. So what can we trust in the Holy Scriptures? I will say for myself, in everything. Let's take at least the famous biblical story of the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah and the wife of the righteous Lot, who disobeyed the warning of angels and turned into a pillar of salt. Yes, there are people who will call this story a fairy tale or an ancient legend. However, science has confirmed that this story, as described in the Bible, is true from beginning to end. Tourists who come to relax by the Dead Sea in the Israeli town of Ein Bokek are invariably offered to go on an excursion to see what is left of the biblical Sodom and Gomorrah, destroyed, as the Bible writes, for the wickedness of their inhabitants. Not far from these places there is a rock resembling a woman wrapped in a veil. She is called Lot's wife. The book of Genesis describes how Abraham's nephew was led out of the city of Sodom by angels along with his wife and daughters. The angels told them to run to the mountain, without stopping anywhere and under no circumstances looking back. But Lot's wife turned around and turned into a pillar of salt. Although this rock, named Lot's wife, cannot be the very same biblical salt pillar, at least because its height is more than 10 meters. At the same time, there are many other salt formations in the vicinity. In 1988, American chemist Klotz from Northwestern University in Illinois published data that suggests that Lot's wife was killed by the greenhouse effect caused by the fire that burned Sodom. According to Dr. Klotz, the woman was most likely covered by a powerful stream of hot air, consisting almost entirely of carbon dioxide. This caused a deadly reaction in the body. Calcium began to combine with carbon dioxide and instant crystallization of calcites occurred. The body literally turned to stone. For the first time, scientists began to think that the described story of turning into a stone pillar was real when excavations of the city of Pompeii began in the 19th century. In the 1st century after the birth of Christ, the ashes of Vesuvius instantly covered the city and preserved the outlines of the bodies of its inhabitants. Voids found in the hardened ashes allow us to see that people were frozen forever in the poses in which they were caught by the eruption. The corpses decayed, but their hardened shells remained. It remains to add that scientists from Great Britain and the USA independently came to the conclusion that Sodom and Gomorrah perished as a result of an earthquake that caused oil and sulfur to ignite. Sulfur balls from this monstrous firework are still found on the coast. There is nothing like this anywhere in the world. Meanwhile, the physical characteristics of the balls correspond to the catastrophe described in the Bible. Perhaps this is exactly how everything happened in those ancient times. However, it is known that such a natural disaster as an earthquake is almost impossible to predict in advance. Even in our times, science is not able to do this. But the angels who came to Lot knew about the coming earthquake to the minute and could even foresee its result and the possible consequences of its impact on a person. This means that someone powerful planned and carried out this earthquake. And who could it be if not God?